In this video, I'm going to show you how to digitize a font and add it to the lettering tool of Inkstitch so that you can just type out letters and it shows up. In this case, the digitize is going to be a satin stitch. This is a freeware, 100% free release on dafont.com. I'm going to change it slightly, so I'm going to rename it, because it will be a slightly different font. It won't be this font in the end, be close. But for this project, you will need FontForge. You can get FontForge for Windows, Mac, and Linux. If you're on a Linux operating system, it is most likely in your repos. Use your software manager or terminal to install FontForge. It is spelled exactly as FontForge in your repo. Should be. So let's get started. I have downloaded the font, unzipped it. There is no license associated to it. So all I have to do is right click and open with. If you just double click it, it will probably install to your operating system as a TTF font, so you will probably have to do an open with FontForge. When you're in FontForge, hold the shift button down and select with the left mouse button the things you want to keep. I'm only going to be using uppercase letters and numbers because the lowercase numbers are the exact same thing, just smaller. And that's it. So once you have highlighted what you want to keep, go into Edit, Select, Invert Selection, Edit, Clear is going to clear out everything else. So the only thing you're left with is the ones you wanted to keep. And then go Element, Font Info, General. I'm going to be doing this as EM size 100. I have played around with this quite a bit, tried this, tried that, and pretty sure the size I want is EM 100. Once you select that, hit OK. It's going to resize. It's a big difference from what it started out at, so it's going to take it just a second to get there. Once that's done, you're going to go into File, Generate Font, and here you can name it something else, which I'm going to do. I'm going to call it College. Hit Generate. Let me do that again, make sure. Yeah, SVG font's what you want. Okay, I did that right. Okay. We should be done with FontForge. Don't have to save it. Right here is my college.svg. I'm going to open that up in Inkscape. Go into Extensions, Typography. Set up Typography Canvas. You want this EM size to be the same as what you set it in FontForge. Everything else, for the most part, doesn't matter. And then go into Extensions, Typography, Convert SVG to Glyph layer. Okay, so there's our size. And each layer now has its own. Okay, yeah. And to show you size, millimeter wise, we are 17 millimeters tall. And we have a column width of about 3.66 millimeter. So this is where the fun happens, because now there is no quick button. There is no little quick button to make it satin stitch quickly and easily. We actually have to do it manually. So we've done this before. We're going to shrink that down, or no, we're going to give that some opacity so I can see behind it. And then we're going to create, we're going to turn off snapping, and then we're going to create, let's try this. Need to move that one over just a hair. Okay. Some of this is going to be trial and error. And then select, you don't want to select the bottom one because that's our starting image. Select all those, path, combine, extensions, Inkstitch, rams, satin column, custom satin column. Well, that looks pretty good. Apply and quit. I'm going to actually just duplicate that and flip it over and drag it over. And theoretically, there is our O. I'm going to select both of those. Go to extensions, Inkstitch, satin tools, auto route satin columns, turn off jump stitches in case your machine doesn't trim. Turn off trim, I mean, just in case. Now we need to drag these over each other just a little bit. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Actually, there's a couple of minor changes I want to make on all of my letters. I want all of my letters to be a 0.3 density. A little bit of something going on down here we got to fix. That's interesting. Okay. On center line, I think I want to do an underlay. I want to do some kind of underlay. Maybe a contour. Yeah, we'll do a contour. And then with it still highlighted, I want to see what it looks like in Simulator, because sometimes the params doesn't show us all of the niceties that's actually going on. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll go with that for now. We're going to run a test on all of them anyway. The rest of these I'm going to do and fast forward so I don't have to subject you to 3 hours of me digitizing a letter. Once you get that done, make sure you delete the original. Yeah. So one down. Alrighty, that was fun. If you have not done so already, you should go ahead and tell Inkstitch where you want your custom fonts directory to be. Select font management, custom font directory. Here you can tell it where you want it to be. I'm going to put it in documents. I'm going to create a new folder inside there and call it Inkstitch fonts. And select. Hit apply. Make sure it's someplace that's easy for you to manage to get to. I put it in documents, Inkstitch fonts. Inside here, I'm going to create a new folder. Name that folder the same as the fonts that we're working on. In my case, it's College. And this is where we're going to be doing things from this point out. I'm going to go back to my font. Okay. Go back to my font. And I'm gonna save as, I'm gonna save it as College, but I'm gonna go ahead and save it inside that. No, not downloads, documents, Inkstitch fonts, College SVG. Hit save. So the next thing to do is we're going to save this file as a right arrow SVG. We're still in our Inkstitch fonts, College, and then saved this as a backup. It's actually probably not ever going to be used. It's just there as a backup. But I'm going to save this as a right arrow. And the way that you get a right arrow is going to be different on different operating systems. I actually don't know how to create a right arrow in Inkscape and Linux. I've found the right arrow and I copied it and just now pasted it. If you're on Linux, I can't help you. I'm going to see if I can figure it out. If I figure it out after I upload this video, then I'll put it in the description, but I'm not having much luck finding that. Very disappointing. However, you have to save it as a right arrow, and a right arrow emoji does not work. I can tell you that from personal experience. Yeah. So, right arrow has to be a true right arrow. Save it as a right arrow. Then, now we're going to go into font management and generate JSON. Make sure you're on the right arrow that you just saved. I've already filled out the name College, the description, my scale, reversible. It is up 4th letter case upper only. Hit apply. Once you have done all that, we can now use it. I'm going to open up a new document. In this new document, I'm going to go to the document properties and I'm going to set my width to 300 and my height to 20. Nope, that's not. Yeah, that is right. It's not inches though. It needs to be millimeters. So try again. Width 300, height 20. That looks better. Zoom right on in there. And then we're going to go to letters, Inkstitch lettering. Our new lettering should be there. As you can see, there's no preview. And that's what we're going to make right now. Text. And I have it forced to uppercase only, so it's going to do all uppercase. There's my College. There's my first look at it. Hit apply and quit. College is in there. I'm going to fit it right inside of that block we just made. College. And then we're going to preview extensions Inkstitch Simulator. Fast forward it. Cool. I'm going to screenshot that. Save as. I'm going to save it inside our working folder, Elise, and I'm going to save it as preview.png. Now I need to open that. I need to open that. I'm going to crop it. Crop. I'm going to save it. I'm going to resize it because it needs to be the size 300 by 20. Not keep aspect ratio just in case, but I'm going to set 300 by 20, resize, and hit save. Close that out. So that should give us a preview. So we've loaded up a new document and we're going to go straight into lettering. We should now have a preview of our stitch. There it is. Elise. So I just did a stitch out. Here it is. And I know that doesn't show up in the little camera so well. So here's a bigger picture. So here is the cell phone camera picture of that stitch out. Everything looks amazing. A few little minor things. I need to trim the last piece of each letter. Add a trim. Piece of cake. The A might be slightly bigger than everything else. Drop it down just a hair. Other than that, everything looks amazing. This actually looks better. First stitch out looks better than I thought it would. Figured there'd be just a little bit more randomness going on, but super happy with this. Absolutely. Anyway, that's it. This will be available for free on lowtechlinux.com if you want it. All you have to do is unzip the file and add it to your custom font directory, and it should just show up for your Inkstitch. Other than that, this one's done. Thanks for watching.